We're
Yeah,
live on YouTube now, and we have around 15 odd teachers who've joined in. Let's wait for another 30 seconds to 1 minute, Vivek, before we start.
Sure, sure.
So, how is Haryana, Punjab, and Chandigarh now, Vivek, on Corona? I've heard it's way better than many other states, especially Delhi.
Yeah, I think Chandigarh and Panchkula are the best, and Punjab is a little bit still afflicted. Haryana is bad in Faridabad, Gurgaon, but okay otherwise. And I think Delhi is finally getting a little bit under control. The worry is Mumbai and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu.
And what about West Bengal? Is that getting better or?
I haven't noticed West Bengal getting worse, so that should be okay.
So it's scary, with Amitabh Bachchan and his family getting corona. It's almost like a wake-up call for all of us because I think human beings are human beings and we had started taking it easy.
I think it's a wake-up call. And the thing is, but another interesting news item I read was immunity has increased among the population in the world. And this I'll send to you, it's on Medium. And this person, professor of Switzerland, says that immunity has almost now gone strong enough to beat the virus. Only the very sick people are in danger.
Okay, lovely. So, well, it's time to start, Vivek. It's 3:31. If you allow me, and Geeta ma'am, if you and Vivek allow me, should we start?
yes, sir, definitely. So,
So,
welcome to, yeah, sir.
if you allow me, I'll take half a minute, then I'll
Yeah,
get you in,
definitely.
ma'am. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon, Geeta ma'am. Good afternoon, Vivek. Welcome to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shuluni University, Kasauli Hills, Himachal Pradesh. It's my honor to be with you today. My name is Atul Khosla. I'm the founder and pro-vice chancellor of Shuluni University. I can see lots and lots of teachers, Jolly ma'am, Shrishti ma'am, Neha ma'am saying hello and good afternoon. So good afternoon to all of you. We're here today on this beautiful webinar. Vivek is going to talk about how the world of human beings is going to evolve post artificial intelligence and how can we use EI or all the our ability to interact with each other, our ability to collaborate with each other to surpass and overcome this whole world of technology. And Vivek, of course, is a great person to speak about this. Who could be more qualified? He's the author of the book, Finding Success Within. He's written 2 other books, an ex-IAS officer, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, but more importantly for me, a dear friend, and also a professor at Shulini University. As a quick background, I am a BTech from IIT Kanpur. I did my MBA, and after that, I worked many, many years in the industry, especially with several multinational consulting firms. When the teaching bug hit me, and now teach now, and I love to teach like all of you. So that's really the background. I'm going to request Geeta ma'am to speak for a minute or so, introduce her school, and we will then get into the webinar. Over to you, Geeta ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. I everybody, this topic which we are going to have the information from Vivek, Atray sir as well as Atul sir. So it is something very different for us. So we need to have a complete, like what the teachers are going to do is everybody should be there for the whole time, as well as I know that everybody is very much busy and excited with the today's result. So we'll keep that thing a little bit side and we have to focus on what sir is going to tell us. So this is the things which we need to do and everybody should do it, and like they should have the complete thing of what is the retaining the human element in the era of artificial intelligence. So that is something, a new topic for us, and really we all are very excited to know about that thing. So over to
Thank you,
you.
Geeta ma'am. The fact that you're so excited about your great result for CBSE, and congratulations all the teachers. I think this is the day all of you are waiting for. But that's really what emotional intelligence is all about. That's about interacting with your students and feeling empathy towards your students and yourself. And that's really the topic of the day. And we're so delighted once again to have Vivek Atray with us, who'll speak about the topic. Vivek, over to you, and look forward to hearing your lovely views.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Atul Khosla, and thank you, Geeta ma'am, for that warm welcome and the introduction. It's wonderful to be speaking to a school in Kurukshetra, where I studied as a boy in engineering college, and I was for 4 years in NIT Kurukshetra. I have been to Kurukshetra many, many times since. I live in Panchkula, which is next to Chandigarh, and Atul is in Solan, so we are all in different places. The technology has connected us, and technology is a part of our lives. We are now in this webinar series. We have done more than 70 webinars, and these 70 webinars, we have touched upon different topics, reached out to various schools, and even as far as Calcutta and Gujarat. So, of course, many schools of Punjab, Haryana, and Himachal, and Chandigarh. So it's wonderful that your teachers have joined, and we are going to talk about this topic. And I am a motivational speaker, so I'll try to motivate the teachers at the same time with a large number of views on YouTube and my book, Finding Success Within, which Atul mentioned. I'll talk about it later. So let us see how technology is helping us and how we need to conduct ourselves in this era of technology. As you know, technology is now all the more important under the lockdown and all post-COVID, because we are in touch through our screen time, and screen time is increasing because of this necessity of teaching online, of contacting online, of speaking online, of having so much of interaction online. But what is important is to retain our human element. What is a human element? Let us describe that first. If you are a human being who loves the fresh air, the nature, books, food, family time, friends, sports, entertainment, who doesn't? Everybody, every human being loves these things. And they want to be a part of these things. All these things I mentioned don't really need technology. Of course, WhatsApp groups of the family have helped the extended family, cousins, and all to stay in touch very closely. Of course, we are able to talk to friends and family who are far away through technology. But if you spend family time at home with your children and your elderly parents, there is no substitute for that. If you are in a nature surrounded situation, in a garden, in a park, in a stadium, where the grass is smelling nice after the rain and the breeze is blowing on your face, the flowers are blooming, nothing can beat that. In fact, I hope Atul will show us a video of Shulini later, and that will show you what a beautiful campus, green and beautiful Shulini has. And nothing can beat the feeling of having something like pani puri, golgappe, chaat, or food which really tantalizes you. And if you look at it, nothing can beat the feeling of playing a sport, table tennis, badminton, football, cricket, whatever it is, winning there, or even winning a game of Ludo or chess or carom board. There's nothing can beat that. And there's nothing to do with technology. So technology is something which is only an enabler. This is the key statement of this webinar. Technology is an enabler. Technology is here to help us. Technology is not our boss. We don't have to become technology automatons. We are human beings. We have a heart, we have a mind, we have a soul, we have a body, and we have to retain our human element while adopting technology. Now, let me scare you a little bit why technology has to be worried about. You know that even to the extent of this shirt changing its characteristic in summers and winters, we can have shirts like that. A shirt which will make me feel warm in the winters and cool in the summers is possible through biotechnology. It is possible that we may have a chip inserted in our wrists, which will make us semi-automated. The smartphone will not be needed. That chip will be here, and we just need to speak into our wrist. We will see something here. Just like the restaurants or nightclubs, they put a mark over here, that little mark will be there or little tip will be there. All you need is that. And you become a human being with an implant of technology inside. Just like a pacemaker is used for the heart, this will be used for entertainment, for communication, for various things. It could happen in 10 years from now. Even then, even so, with all these new developments, it is important for us to spend that moment with ourselves in calm, peaceful bliss. That is the human element. When I come up with a crazy idea, what is a crazy idea? Till today in your school, you have taught a particular chapter like this, and suddenly you decide to teach it in a different way. Or the example changes, the experiment changes, the project changes, the exhibits change, whatever it is. Or suddenly your annual function, which always had a particular sequence, you decide one year that, sir, ma'am, this year, let us also add something animated. Let us add something semi-animated. These are creative ideas which come when you are not using technology. When you are walking in the garden, when you are eating your food, or you are listening to somebody, actually you are not listening, your mind is somewhere else, or you are getting ready for office, that is the time when ideas come. And that comes because you're a human being, a creative human being. Creativity is something which is only peculiar to human beings. Of course, animals may be creative as well. They may do things which are not expected of them. A nest which is built in a particular way by a bird is normally being built like that for the last many centuries. Suddenly the bird finds different material to make the nest, and some of that material may be very modern material. It becomes an innovation. It is for us to retain that creative element by making ourselves joyful in doing new ideas, in making new ideas, in making them happen. This webinar series is called Ideas That Matter. What are the ideas that matter? Those ideas which change the way things are done. And yet, we retain that human happiness. Today, the result has come. CBSE has declared results. The student who has done well, that student's happiness knows no bounds. The teacher and parent are also the same, very, very delighted. That happiness comes from your heart, doesn't come from your brain. Art element is the human element. The creative element is the right side of the brain. That is the creative side of the brain. Very important to nurture that. To be creative is to be extra human, to be absolutely very, very conscious of the fact that you want to make something new happen. Let us take another example. Let us say KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati. Amitabh Bachchan was financially down in the dumps at about 2000. He had organized the Miss World competition in India with the ABC, I think his company was, Amitabh Bachchan Corporation, something like that. He lost a lot of money. Somebody came up with the idea that this game show, which is held in the US, it is called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You know that it was also featured in Slumdog Millionaire in the movie. Anil Kapoor was also there, I think, in that. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It became Kaun Banega Crorepati in India. Amitabh Bachchan was roped in to play the host. His financial situation improved in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, now 20 years down the line. Amitabh Bachchan has become the perfect host for so many years for that show. And of course, he's not well nowadays. For the last couple of days, we know. Hopefully, he will bounce back and come back to KBC. So what I'm trying to say is that when you think of something creative, it is not to do with technology. Even the manufacturer of a laptop or a smartphone, when he thinks of a new idea or she thinks of a new idea, that idea comes from the human mind and sometimes comes from the heart, and it comes from the right side of the brain. That is the creative part. So think about these things. how we must retain our human faculties, not become too much controlled by technology, how we should be able to memorize telephone numbers as we used to before smartphones came, memorize and total small elements of, let's say, 64 plus 202 plus 95. We should be able to do it without using a calculator. These are the things we need to do to give our brain and mind exercise and keep them fresh, so that we don't become over dependent on artificial intelligence. I'm going to request Atul Khosla to come in with his ideas, and I'm going to request him to talk a little bit about Shulini University as well, and we'll continue with this discussion with Atul now. Yes, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. How inspiring. And I'm going to talk about inspiration. When we speak about human values, I think what could be more important than inspiration? I think your teachers give inspiration every day to your students. That's why, I could see such an amazing smile on Geeta ma'am's face. It's as if she herself had got those 97% marks, or her son or daughter had achieved those 97% marks. And I think that's the power of giving back to others. That's the power of making other people successful. So people who make other people successful, Vivek, tend to be happier, tend to have superior EQ or emotional intelligence. And these are the people that artificial intelligence cannot beat. But when it comes to inspiration, it's not just about people, it's also about the spaces that you're in. I think as a juncture, I'm going to tease all of you with a small trailer of Shulini. That's where I'm sitting right now. If you allow me, Vivek.
Sure.
Thank you. So that's inspiration for me, at least. So I believe, Vivek, that going forward, knowledge is going to be with everyone because it's at the press of a button. We also believe that artificial intelligence will change the way we live. So we are going to use less of our left brains because the computers are going to do all the hard work. They're going to remember things. They're going to do all the amazing calculations. But can a computer really replicate the right side of the brain or the human side of the brain? And I think the answer is definitely no for the time being. And that's what all of us need to really inculcate. So we need to be more empathetic to people. We need to become more creative. We need to provide more inspiration to people around us. We need to collaborate more. We need to do a lot more teamwork, communicate more. And these are very, very important skills. If you think about the Three Idiots, which is a very famous movie that all of us loved, and we go back and we think about the skills that they were showing these three idiots had, They were all around these so-called softer skills. And these softer skills or humane skills, whichever way you pronounce it, are the ones that are going to make people successful. You will not be successful anymore just because you had superior knowledge over others. You will become more successful because you knew how to deal with others, just like we spoke about, Vivek. One last thought, you were talking about biotechnology, how it's changing the world. We do lots and lots of work on research in biotechnology, Vivek. And I have to tell you one project that DRDO has given, Shulini, which is about medicated clothes. So soldiers, for example, get bullet injuries or get injuries that they don't have time to, get all the dressing and all done. So we're actually working on medicated clothes where the clothes will form the dressing, and through biotechnology, our soldiers will not need any bandages and other things anymore. So biotechnology is going to change the world. Computers are going to change the world. Science is going to change the world, but they cannot change the human brain. They cannot change our heart. They cannot change our emotional feelings. And these are the type of skills, these are the type of beliefs that we have to build into our students to make them successful. So that's for me for the time being. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you, Atul. Very well said, very well spoken. In fact, very true. All these changes are coming. Artificial intelligence is a part of our lives. The microwave is there. The washing machine is there. They know exactly when to switch off, what timer, and the alarm is there. And so many things are there which are absolutely, required. But these things are all, not going to control us. We have to control them. And that is what is needed in this world. It is very, very important that we control our situation and surroundings as human beings and not become controlled by them. So retaining the human element means actually retaining our emotional intelligence, our creativity. So Atul spoke about creativity, and emotional intelligence versus artificial intelligence is not really what it should be. It should not be EI versus AI. It should be EI plus AI. What does that mean? It means emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence, they work together. Of course, intelligence is the basic concept. But Einstein said creativity is intelligence having fun. And emotional intelligence means we are more creative. We are able to control our emotions, not say the wrong thing at the right time or the wrong time, not say something which we didn't want to say, and not do something out of impulse, not lose our temper, not lose our cool. If we are able to have a high level of emotional intelligence, then we will be able to survive, flourish. And artificial intelligence will become only our enabler, facilitator, even servant. Why should it become the boss? Today, many people are wedded to their smartphones, which means that you have married somebody, of course, who is a human being, but you have also married your smartphone. That person, that smartphone are part of your life. And this smartphone goes everywhere. And it is a part of our lives. But can we distance ourselves from it? Can we remain without it for a while? Can we switch it off for a while? Do we have to reply to that WhatsApp message every time? Do we have to read every WhatsApp message and watch every video? I can share with you, I'm quite disciplined. I don't look at the videos at all. I only try to see the motivational message. I'm a motivational speaker. I don't open the videos because videos take time and videos take memory and videos take space. And only when I find that this person sends only inspirational videos or is a person who really would send something very valuable, then I will open it. Otherwise, why should I be spending my time in virtual reality? I should be spending another extra hour reading a book. Could be a book on Kindle, could be a book in your hand. Which reminds me that I have my favorite book here. So let me show it to you. And Atul also goes by this book. He also follows this path. Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Have a look at it. You may have seen it. You may have seen someone with it in school or home or college or office, or Dadaji or Chachaji or Masi or somebody has read it. You have read it perhaps. It is a life-changing book. full of spiritual values of India. Shulini University, which is so beautiful, you just saw the video, has a Yogananda library, which is so beautiful and amazingly equipped. It is very important for us to remember our spiritual nature in whatever way we can. Reading books like this will give us that extra edge in life and balance our lives. We will not become automatons, we will not become materialistic. Materialism is also semi-automaton. We are as if driven by impulse. We want more money, we want more power, we want more fame. It's like as if it is a natural tendency. We have to curb our tendency to be driven by a rat race. What is a rat race? That we are running after this or that. We don't know where we are running. Such a fast life. We need to slow down. We need to pause. We need to reflect. We need to find out whether we are finding true happiness. Are we finding true happiness? Or are we going from pillar to post? ये हो गया, वो काम हो गया, ये काम हो गया, ये पढ़ाई हो गई, ये marks आ गए. I know that you have got your CBSE results today. The children are very happy. But I have a quote from my book, which is called, the quote is, life is not about marks. Life is about making a mark. Now, this is a quote which I really value and I feel strongly about. You got 97%, you can tell your students. But you have to be a good human being. You have to be an all-rounder. You have to be creative. You have to have empathy. You have to have all-round capabilities. And then happiness and success will come to you. Let me show you the cover of my book. It's called Finding Success Within, as I said. 52 life skills for young people. And these are skills which they need, which all of us need to be happy and successful in life. It's available on Amazon. Finding Success Within by Vivek Atray. Now, if I tell you that, let me in fact give you the story. The story is of Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was playing Wimbledon. He was in the final and he was on top of the world. And he was going, he was celebrated. He won Wimbledon. Next day, photographs in the paper, TV, everything. Wimbledon is the biggest tennis tournament of the world. I'm sure all of you know. So after 10 or 15 years, he was unfortunately critically ill, dying. And when he's dying, he's lying on the bed. He's still answering his letters. He knows he doesn't have too many months to go. He's getting letters by longhand. And he replies to each one and says, somebody says, why is this happening to you, Arthur? Why not to somebody else? He says, when I won Wimbledon, I didn't ask God, why is this happening to me? Why did I win? Now, what right do I have to ask God, why am I ill and dying? If we learn from Arthur Ashe, the point of life is that true happiness comes from our attitude. His attitude was one of positive thinking. When I'm happy, I thank God. When I'm sad and totally out, down and out, I pray to God. But I don't become thankless. Being thankful is a great human value. Everyone has a house, a home, a family, a job. Most people, all of us do. And we have something to do. We have great people around us. We have great examples of success around us. We also have examples of what not to do. In society, you see people who are worth emulating and people who are worth avoiding. There are all kinds of people. It's a duality. The world is full of duality. Love, hate, evil, good, everything is there. We have to adopt the path which is creative, cheerful, and basically happiness is our goal. So let me give you another story about attitude. And attitude is something which will come if we are looking at our human values. If we are too busy to look at our human values because we are wedded to technology, artificial intelligence, बहुत busy hai, काम hai, everybody is busy. But you know, there is always scope to look into ourselves, look within. If we look within, then we become truly human and humane, as Atul said. We must do that. So, if I tell you the example of the SHO, what did the SHO earn? SHO Sahab police station ke hote hain? You know that, station house officer. He's lying down on a divan at the police station after lunch. One person is pressing his feet. The other person is shelling pistas for him, one by one. Pista छील के खिला रहे. ठीक है, SHO साहब हैं, कोई बात नहीं, अच्छी बात है. He deserves that respect. He's getting that. But after 5 minutes, somebody comes and says, "Janab, आपकी बदली हो गई." SHO is absolutely shocked. He did not expect a transfer. And this SHO gets up and stands up and wonders, "ये क्या हो गया?" He looks at the paper. The person who is pressing his feet, he stops. The person who is shelling pista eats the next pista himself. Why? Because SHO Sahab never really got the due goodwill and respect which he should have earned. Instead of power and authority, goodwill and respect are more important. Even if we are transferred, even if we retire, even if we resign like I did, I resigned from the IAS, you retain that goodwill and respect forever. Even after you go from this world, your family reaps the benefit of that goodwill. So these human values, these human goals, spreading empathy, happiness, compassion, helping others, cheerfulness, these are goals which we should aspire for. Goodwill is a goal to aspire for. I will help others in order to get goodwill. It's fine. I don't have any selfish agenda. So everybody, if they think like that, then the whole of society starts improving. Of course, you always have the bad guys. Har film mein hota hai good guy, bad guy. Of course, nowadays the hero has become the villain. So we don't need villains. The villain and the hero is the same person now. That is what life is about. You see people in society being the same. The good guy does the bad thing. So we don't need bad guys. But we are human. Human beings will slip up at times. They will make mistakes at times. They will stop noticing others at times. But only once in a while. We should retain our personality, our human touch, our good vibes, good vibrations. Basically, we should have positive intent. Teaching is your career. It is anyway a positive thing to do. A person who is a, let's say, a excise and taxation inspector or a police inspector, their job is to stop crime, stop pilferage, stop whatever. Theirs is a slightly, it has to be, they have to be wary of the negative. They have to think, this guy may be wrong, I have to catch him. Whereas teachers largely have to create positivity in students. And very few students need that careful monitoring to make sure they don't do anything wrong or too much. And if we inspire, like Atul used the word inspiration, I talked about it. If you start inspiring your students, then they become total human beings, complete human. It is not only about marks, money, all materialistic stuff. We have to tell them this. We have to bring in those values. That heart element has to be there. Only then they will become the human beings of the future. Otherwise, Abhi say, you know, these kids of 5 years who are today 5 years old, they have a phone in their hands most of the time. And if the child has a phone in hand, then that phone will remain forever. If we are able to make them, these children, spend time with each other, with human elements, then these children will grow up in a wholesome way. Meditation is one way, creativity is another way, spreading happiness is another way. All these things are highly important for us. Only then they will be able to make a difference in our lives. And that is what really matters. So it is very, very important that we retain the human element, that we retain whatever is important for us, and we retain our cheerfulness, our balance, our composure, our emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to balance people and situations in a calm and balanced manner. You handle them. That's what emotional intelligence. Over to you, Atul, to add some more thoughts, and then I'll come back for my final thoughts.
Thank you very much, Vivek. You know, you spoke about so many interesting ideas. Ultimately, you were, I think, indicating that what's most important is happiness. And happiness cannot come through machines. Happiness cannot come through money. Happiness cannot come through, all the successes or the power that we have. So a lot of times, we tell our students that why don't you study hard? If you work hard, you'll be successful and you'll be happy. The interesting thing, Vivek, is that when there was a research done by the Harvard Business School, the big university out of the United States of America, Harvard, they figured out that successful people need not be happy, but happy people have a way higher probability of being successful. So the point I'm trying to drive over here, teachers, is that many times we forget the ability to be happy and that skill set to be given to our students. We focus too much on studies. Well, studies are very important. I'm not taking it away. But, imagine, your results are out today. The 97% student is very happy. But imagine if you scored 84% marks as a student. I'm sure you won't be very happy, while 84% is not bad at all. I mean, 84 or 88 or even 91%. But then competition seeps in and you say, oh God, if Anurag could get 97% marks, then why me? Why am I at 91%? And I think that's where we need to sort of change the thinking of ourselves, the parents, and sometimes the students. So happiness, teachers, gives success. And you'll be delighted to know that happy people also live longer. As per this research, happy people are likely to hit the age of 80, while if you're unhappy, you could sort of be unhealthy or you could die before the age of 70. So it's a huge difference being happy and not being happy. The second thing I'd like to say is what makes people happy? It's not, again, money, it's not success, it's not power, but it's the company of like-minded friends, it's the company of family, it's the company of community, it's giving back to the community, and it's helping others. So if you're a loner, don't be a loner anymore. Go back, say hello to your friends, pick up the phone, speak to your parents, speak to your brothers, sisters, or your cousins, and make sure that you rebuild those friendships that are so important for you. So just to sort of end it up, Vivek, the machines can do a lot of stuff. The machines can probably do all the calculations. Tomorrow, the machines could even serve us cups of tea or clean our bathrooms, do lots and lots of stuff. But can they give happiness? I don't think so. Over to you.
Thank you, Atul. Very nicely said. And absolutely, happiness is the key to the goal of life. That is the goal of life. I'll tell you a couple of stories now, and they will emphasize the point. I must tell you Einstein's story because today we're talking about human.
And that's my favorite story.
Absolutely. So Atul's favorite as well. So Einstein and his driver were on a tour of the US. The driver was driving him around, and Einstein would go to a campus and speak on the theory of relativity. You know Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. And American universities had invited him by the dozen. He would speak, and the driver would sit at the back and listen to the lecture. And Einstein spoke so beautifully, and he could speak so well on the topic, and the driver was very happy and thrilled every time. But Einstein did not know. He was just quiet. The driver would not talk to him on the road, and he would not talk, and he would just get onto the car and go to the next place. But after 24 towns, suddenly the driver speaks on the way to the 25th university town. And the driver says, Mr. Einstein, I've heard your lecture 24 times. I think even I can deliver this lecture now. And Albert Einstein is absolutely astonished, but so delighted. He looks at him, he says, wow, super, that's great. I'll become the driver, you become Einstein. We go to this small university town, where they don't know how I look. And it's possible that they will, you go and deliver the lecture and I'll go and sit at the back. So that's what happens. They receive the driver not knowing how Einstein looks at that time, 1920s. And they go on, he goes onto the stage. Einstein sits in the last row, and the driver delivers a flawless, perfect lecture on the theory of relativity. And Albert Einstein and the audience clap, applaud, cheer. They're so delighted and so excited by the lecture. And the driver is on top of the world. And suddenly a professor raises a hand, professor much grayer than Atul Khosla, who's a young professor. He raises his hand and he asks a question. He says something, he asks very complicated question. And the driver looks at him. There is silence in the hall. The driver finally speaks. He says, Professor, that's a very, very simple question. I think even my driver can answer it. We all know who the driver was, so there was no problem at all. Everybody claps and cheers. But that is the human element here. You look at the driver. Nothing in this was technology or artificial intelligence. He had the presence of mind to answer the professor and say that my driver will answer it. Presence of mind is a human quality. A computer cannot have presence of mind. The computer will tell you what you feed into it. It will calculate, it will process, it will have algorithms, it will do everything and give some results. And the driver also had delivery skills. He could speak. He could memorize the lecture. He could have the confidence to talk to Einstein. All these are human values and qualities which we learn from somebody like a driver of Einstein. Just an example of what human beings are capable of if they set their minds to it. We have many, many examples of people who are disabled, but they conquered Mount Everest. Arunima Sinha is a great example. She lost her legs in a train accident, became a mountain climber, conquered Mount Everest, has now written a book on that. It is so fabulous that human beings can achieve something which they set out to achieve without any obstacles. And Atul will tell you, great things can happen at times with great values like that. And inspiring stories emanate from educational institutions. A student who's not very good or is average suddenly becomes an achiever. That is something also very, very good. So things like that can really make out the values. I think, Atul, we can take some questions and we can probably go into an interaction.
Absolutely, Vivek. Before we get into, there are two questions already. Srishti ma'am and Sanju ma'am are asking some questions, and they're asking, who your inspiration is. So better be prepared for that, Vivek.
Okay.
But my question is to you is, you resigned from the IAS, and you resigned at the time when you're peaking in your career. You would have had all those lal battis and everything in front of you, and all those security guards and all the power. Why did you leave the IAS, Vivek?
Yeah, Atul, you know the answer, but good you asked me because everybody else should also know the answer. Haryana is the state where Punjab, Haryana, the IAS and positions like that are valued even more than in South India, And when I was resigning from the IAS, one of my aunties tells me, Vivek, thukda ki hoega, which means ke power, tor, thuk. You understand a bit of Punjabi Kurukshetra people. So the thing is that she was worried about what you said, red light and salutes and all. So my thing was that I had actually been lucky enough to have a father who was a senior IPS officer, and he was really on top of the game, and he was very, very powerful. I had seen all these salutes since my childhood. And then I came into the service when he died. I saw 26 years of similar, if not the same, status and power and took. And then I realized that this is not really what life is about now. So I said, I must give back. I must be creative. I must become a speaker because that's what I used to like, and become a writer more often. And now I'm absolutely loving my new role, new identity as an ex-IAS officer. I would have been sitting in some meeting right now, clearing files, listening to the chief secretary, who's a very nice lady, of course. But I wouldn't have been using my own mind like I'm using now in this webinar. And this I absolutely love. That's why I resigned, and that is the reason.
And the love and inspiration you get from students, which is so important today.
Absolutely. Loving that.
So Vivek, the question that Srishti ma'am is asking is, and I'm going to come to you, ma'am, also Geeta ma'am. Who's your inspiration? Do you really believe inspiration matters? And who's your
Oh,
inspiration?
yes, yes. Inspiration really matters. My inspiration has changed over the years. Let me tell you that. So in my first 10 years, it would have been Sunil Gavaskar, or 15 years. He was the hero of Indian cricket, and I was a young cricket boy playing and loving it. And then at the age of 20 or so, when I was 22, then Sachin Tendulkar came and he became my hero. My father was always my inspiration, and he was really, really special. He was an amazing personality. He left when I was only 24, 25. That was very early. He inspired me a lot. And then in the last 15 years or so, it has been Paramahansa Yogananda. And absolutely, I showed you the book, the cover of the book I showed you. So Yogananda Ji, he was only 20 something when this photo was taken. He looks like a lady with long hair. And he was in America at the age of 27. He became a monk traveling to America and speaking about meditation, and yoga is written about it in this. So this book, when I read, he has inspired me very, very much. And every day I read a little bit of this book even now. And I think I get a lot of inspiration. Inspiration is very vital, Sushi ma'am. Without inspiration, no day should pass. Something should inspire you. It could be a bird, it could be just the trees, or it could be a person, or it could be a happening. But whatever it is, you should have that inspiration.
What about you, Geeta, ma'am? What's your or who's your inspiration?
Like, sir, I have the inspiration, like, as sir said, that many people were my inspirations. So earlier also, like, my mother is still my inspiration.
Mhm.
Like, she has told me how to lead a good life, and she is all what she has told me, and I am learning, still learning the things from her. That is the thing. And moreover, even principal ma'am, like, she's there. So she is also our inspiration, how she tackles the situations and the things so easily. Like, sometimes we get in chaos that what will happen, what we have to do. But very easily and with the smile on our faces, like, she says that be calm, stay calm, and you can win each and everything. That the one thing she says is, no person is complete until he or she wears a smile on his face. So
So
that is the,
beautifully said.
yeah.
So beautifully said. Vivek, I believe that life is impossible without inspiration.
Yeah.
And people who have inspiration, they're the ones who ultimately achieve impossible things. My inspiration from a corporate and entrepreneurial perspective is Steve Jobs. I've always really enjoyed reading about Steve Jobs. What an amazing guy. He would think completely outside the box. And I also admire and I get inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. I believe the simplicity of Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts is so amazing. He just speaks about three things. He speaks about satya, he speaks about ahimsa, and he speaks about being oneself. So he basically is saying that if you speak the truth and if you are yourself, then the world you can conquer the world. It's such a simple thought, but it's so powerful. And I've been reading his autobiography of late. I've almost finished it. It's the third time I'm reading it, My Experiments with Truth. And every time I read the book, it is so fascinating. I mean, I just sometimes wonder, how did the world or how did God create someone like him? Of course, Paramahansa Yogananda is also another such person that I am inspired from. So inspiration does mean a lot, Srishti ma'am, and I'm sure uh, you are inspired by lots of people. But inspiration can also come from spaces. What I mean by spaces is the people around you or the environment around you. So do plant trees, protect your environment, make sure the world doesn't go back to pre-COVID times. I mean, hopefully we can reduce the pollution that exists. We see all the beautiful birds, the colors, music. I mean, all these things give inspiration. So I think that's true for all our students, that we need to pass this inspiration to all of them. Sanju ma'am is asking, but technology is part of a daily life. It is very difficult to live without technology and innovation. I think that's a great question. Technology is important. We know that. So how do you still become or retain your humanness, Vivek? That's the big question, right?
Good question. Absolutely true. But as I said earlier, it is not EI versus AI, which means it's not the human being versus technology. It is basically EI plus AI. That means you need to add your own human values to the capability of technology and become a balanced user. So if you are balanced in your life, that means that you are using technology judiciously. Judicious use of technology means as much as you need for the purpose that you need it. Therefore, that is something which is balanced. If we are spending all day with technology, then obviously, as I said, you're losing those human things. I started with Golgappas and walk in the park. And you remember in the beginning, I spoke about these things. In Golgappa, you don't need technology. You can't have any technology in that. I hope they won't put some chip or something there. So the thing is that these things give us the human touch. A grandmother's hand don't need technology. So we need to retain these human experiences while technology grows around us, and keep that technology at a space which is reasonable, at an arm's length whenever required. So to say, mentally. You understand what I'm trying to say? Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. We have Vanita ma'am here. Vanita ma'am, we can't see you. If you can switch on your camera, we'll truly appreciate. If you're there.
I think she's busy, so she
Can
won't be
hear
able.
her.
Okay. I can see it on the screen, so probably she's not there.
Maybe
so
she can speak? No.
No, she's probably, I think, tied up. So
Okay.
she's there, but not available. No worries at all. So I think there's a question that Vijay sir is asking. He's saying, how can students be motivated for online classes as we are facing the challenges of teaching in this pandemic? So how do we get students? I think this question comes to us all the time, Vivek. So what do we as teachers do to inspire our students?
Yeah, so when grown-ups are grown-ups because they handle change and reverses a little better, children are often wondering, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do that? Many of us, when we were when I was very small, I remember my parents, 1971, I was a 5-year-old, and there was a war, and there was a bombing in Ambala, etc., and there were blackouts. So there were times when suddenly you had to change your lifestyle, you had to change the way you think, and classes were obviously suspended and nothing was happening. Children and students don't really understand that as easily as experienced people. But nowadays, children are very aware. They're aware of what it is. It's just that they get uneasy with this new way of teaching and learning. Teachers also get uneasy. We have to adapt and change. Of course, we will go back to the classroom. Who doesn't want to go back and have that experience of having a full class and teachers and children mingling and talking and dhakka mukki in the corridor and whatever it is? Nobody, all students who are now successful, they love doing that in school or college. It will happen, but whatever is the change, we have to accept. So tell the students that you have to be motivated and inspired, because this is your present. This is the way things are at the moment. There is no escape. And this time of your life will not come back. We can't fast forward it to December or November. We have to go through these months like this and motivate them by maybe getting them to interact and participate more and tell stories, etc., like we are doing here. Atul?
Absolutely. I think it's also a little bit of an art, which Vivek was referring to. So when we think about online teaching, it cannot be taught the same way as the classroom. So I'll also request you to read a little bit about, how is online teaching done, instruction design done, all the teachers. So use technology more effectively. There are learning management tools for technology, artificial intelligence-based tools. So hopefully your school will also bring them in to make your job better and easier. If you need any help, I'm very happy to support. From a Shulini perspective, we have one of the most sophisticated tools for online teaching. I think it's also then about the size and duration of the class, Vivek. So typically, a class in online cannot be more than 20 minutes because the human mind as such cannot absorb the knowledge for more than 20 minutes unless it's a story. So I think that's, again, a very important thing. Involving students in what we call asynchronous learning, which is a lot of projects, is very important. So So change the way, I would say, change the way you're teaching, also to involve the students. The last thing that I've picked up over here, as far as online, can someone, I think Vanita ma'am, there's a noise coming. So guys, Kamal, others, can you mute ma'am? Kamal, can you please, or Shikha, can you please? Okay, it's muted. Lovely. So the last point I'd like to make over here, Vivek, is that a lot of focus on online learning and impact can only happen if students are also talking to each other and parents and students are talking. So one of the things I've learned is that we need to start regaining and building those communities. So can you create a virtual group of your students where they're talking to each other without you as the teacher? So can you create those team groups? Can you have parent to parent interactions happening, giving feedback? So these are things that we'll have to learn. And I'm sure you can't motivate the students the way you do when you're face to face, but we can be at least 50-60% of what we've been doing in the past. So what are your thoughts, Geeta ma'am? How are you motivating your students?
Like, sir, I am motivating, like, if whatever they are doing and whatever in the situation which we are having, like everybody is going through this situation. So we are just telling them that this is the need of the hour and the change is the law of nature. We need to adapt ourselves to this online classes and all these things. We need to do these things. If we will not do, then we will be out of this race and you will not able
Absolutely.
to compete the other students what they are doing. So it is very important that students have to go for the online classes also, and it is like they are doing it, we are motivating, and even for the parents we are taking these classes, we have having the interactive sections with the sessions with the parents as well. There are
Fantastic.
many problems which we are facing, but still, like, it is like both of us, like even the teachers, management, as well as the parents, like together if we can do the things and we can make and we can take out any solution for that.
As they say, the show has to go on, and we have to continue, and we have to motivate our students. Absolutely, you're so right, ma'am. I think we've come to an end, and it's been a beautiful discussion. I think before we close, my last question, Vivek, your last thoughts, but in one sentence.
Well, Atul, I'm really happy to be connected to your school through this Sholini University webinar. It's very nice to meet you all. Stay strong, stay positive, and balance your lives as best as possible. Stay motivated and inspired.
Geeta, ma'am, your last thoughts. One
So
sentence.
be happy in all the situations and you can achieve anything.
Absolutely. So well done. So lovely, lovely talking to all of you. I now know that I have a home in Kurukshetra, so would love, Vivek and I would love to come and visit all of you. कुरुक्षेत्र तो वैसे भी कर्म भूमि है विवेक की और सच्ची में कर्म भूमि है सबकी. So we have to anyway visit Kurukshetra. But I'll also invite all of you to Shulini once the weather is better. What I mean by the weather is when Corona is not there and we all can travel. We'd love to have all of you here. We have a beautiful guest house, so we'd love to welcome all of you. Come and stay with us. My last thoughts would be, don't worry, be happy. You're happy, you will be successful. You'll figure a way to be successful. So with that, be safe. And I think I was reading that Amitabh Bachchan has got coronavirus, Vivek. I think it's a awakening call for all of us. Somewhere we had forgotten that coronavirus is very dangerous. We had become a little lax in terms of the way we were protecting ourselves. So teachers, please protect yourselves. Our first onus is to protect ourselves and our near and dear ones. So let's take it as a warning and be happy and be safe. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Geeta ma'am. And thank you, Vanita ma'am, if you're hearing me. And thank you, all the teachers of your beautiful school. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.